Please be seated. Sir, are you here for a specific case?
Yes,
Which one?
actually two of them. One is case number 2123394LT. Me versus Lyle Stoneburner, Rebecca Walters, and Sandra Torrington.
Are you Mr. Joel Lundberg?
Joel, yeah.
Okay.
And then I have another one.
That's the Shaughnessy.
Shaughnessy. And that's a 2123393LT.
Okay, thank you. Probably what I'll have you do is come on up to one of these two sets of tables. Is there, are the computers on? One of these, yeah, anywhere's fine. Okay. If the computer's not on, if you wouldn't mind hitting the button on the lower right-hand side of that computer on the table.
Lower bottom.
Well, the computer, the screen, on the lower right-hand side of the computer screen, the television screen right in front of you, there should be a button. What you should see when you turn it on is the same as here. I'm just trying to make it a little closer for you.
I think I just turned it off. Okay, I see myself in it.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Judge Carpenter. We have a number of cases that we're going to interact with today. Most of you are by Zoom. We do have one plaintiff, Mr. Lundberg, who is here in person. How we're going to proceed today is that there are some things that I need to relay to you, although the law is changing. Many of the emergency orders by Supreme Court on Monday were rescinded, though as far as I can tell, 2017 is still in effect. And so we're going to proceed with that as the presumption that it's not been rescinded, at least as of this morning. They move very quickly and don't always give us advance notice ahead of time. So I'm going to follow through with the procedure, which means that for most of you, I'm going to play a video if you're a tenant, meaning you're a person who rents property. There are a number of telephone numbers and email addresses, telephone numbers and website information that you may want. I'm going to play this PowerPoint presentation. Once the PowerPoint presentation is completed, then I'll call each of the individual cases. When I call your case, then if you would please unmute yourself. If you are a tenant and wish to speak with a representative from Legal Service of Eastern Michigan, we have both Marcella Darris, who is here, as well as Miss Amy Mylink, who can meet with you in a private setting. Most likely because of the number of people we have today, they're just probably going to take your name and number and then have someone follow up to meet with you. But if you want to meet with them, they are available. I will ask you that question when the time comes for your case. And then I'm going to give you a different date after today. For most of you, it will be the same date, but you'll need to listen to the next date. The next date you can be in person or you can be by Zoom if you choose. So for most of you, let's see. Most of you, the next date will be August 4th, but it will vary as to the time period. A few of you will have a different date than that, so I will address each case individually. At this point in time, I'm going to share with you a PowerPoint presentation, so if you would please pay attention to that.
Welcome to the 75th District Court. This case is a landlord-tenant dispute. There are a number of rights that I must inform you about and that you will see on the following screens. First, I want to advise you that you have a right to an attorney. If you do not have an attorney but are financially able to retain one, you may locate an attorney through the State Bar of Michigan or a local lawyer referral service. The State Bar of Michigan can be reached at 517-346-6300, or you may contact on the web at www.mishbar.org. If you do not have an attorney and you are not financially able to retain one, you might qualify for assistance through the local legal aid office by calling 800-322-4512. There are a number of different agencies, both state and locally, that may be able to assist you. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the local Coordinated Entry Agency, which in Midland County is called Home to Stay, the Federal Help for Homeless Veterans Program, or the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, or other community agencies may be able to assist you with payment of some or all of your rent that is due. MDHHS may be reached locally at 989-835-7070 or on the web at www.michigan.gov/mybridges. You may contact Home to Stay at 989-496-9550. If you seek assistance for veterans, you may be available through the National Call Center for Homeless Veterans. That number is 1-877-424-3838, or the Department of Veterans Affairs Homeless Veterans homepage at www.va.gov. The Housing Development Authority may be reached at 517-335-9953. It's important for you to know that you do not need a judgment to receive assistance from MDHHS or the local CEA, which is Home to Stay. The summons and complaint from the court case is sufficient. If you have a caseworker at MDHHS, you should contact your worker immediately. If you do not have a caseworker at MDHHS, you should contact MDHHS at 989-835-7070, or you may go on to the web at www.michigan.gov/mybridges and do so immediately. The Michigan Community Dispute Resolution Program, known as CDRP, and the local CDRP offices are available as a possible source for this case resolution. CDRP may be involved in resolution of the summary proceedings cases, but must be agreed to by both parties. They can be reached or contacted at 810-249-2619, or the office is located at 315 East Court Street, Suite 200 in Flint, Michigan. You should also know that there is a possibility of having a conditional dismissal, which is pursuant to MCR 2.602, if approved by all parties. Forms are available to effectuate such a conditional dismissal online at www.courts.michigan.gov. There may be an attorney representative from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan available for you to meet with today if you would like. You are not under any obligation to meet with the attorney, but you may if you wish. Make sure to let the judge know when he asks you if you want to do this, and we will provide you a confidential opportunity to do so.
This does not mean that the attorney advising you today is agreeing to take your case. You would have to qualify for the services according to their guidelines. However, they are here to give you general advice on how to handle your case and to give you advice on how to seek financial assistance. On March 22nd, 2021, the Michigan Supreme Court amended its order 2020-17 as follows. In cases filed pursuant to MCL 657-14-1A for non-payment of rent, a court must stay further proceedings after the pretrial hearing is conducted and not proceed to judgment if a defendant applies for COVID emergency rental assistance, which is known as CERA, and notifies the courts of the application. The stay is contingent, meaning dependent upon the following events. A, an eligibility determination is made by the appropriate HARA within 30 days of the pretrial hearing. B, the defendant is eligible to receive rental assistance for all rent owed. And C, the plaintiff received full payment from the CERA program within 45 days of the pretrial hearing. If any of these events do not occur, excluding delays attributable to the plaintiff, which means landlord, the court must lift the stay and continue with the proceedings. This is the end of the advice of rights as required by Michigan Supreme Court Order 2020-17. This time I will call this case. First case is File 21-23359 SP Terry and Gayla Cox versus Christopher Paytis. Would Mr. and Mrs. Cox and Mr. Paytis or anyone associated with 1700 Airfield Lane please unmute themselves at this point? All right, I see Mr. Paytis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
It looks as if this is a land contract situation. Have you sought any assistance from legal services or anyone else?
I have not, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you wish to meet with a representative from Legal Service of Eastern Michigan this morning?
Your Honor, my hope this morning is to, if both parties agree to get into mediation, we have discrepancies in what was paid and what the amount owed on the land contract is.
Well, I can't force mediation, but I see Gayla Cox. Please, Mrs. Cox, please state your names for the record.
Gayla Cox.
Terry Cox.
All right. Mr. and Mrs. Cox, Mr. Paytis wishes to go to mediation. Are you agreeable to that, or would you prefer not to do that?
At this point, I guess we prefer not.
Okay. Well, the next hearing date then is on August 4th at 1 o'clock. Mr. Paytis, at this point in time, do you wish to meet with someone from Legal Services Eastern Michigan, or are you planning on just making the decision on your own?
Your Honor, I have and I don't know if this is the venue to do this, but the things that are in the case stating that I have not made payments is inaccurate. I have receipts.
Yeah, Mr. Paytis, let me stop. Hang on. That's for the hearing for next week.
Okay.
You can bring all your documentation for next week. If you're going to do that, I would prefer to have both parties here in person. It's easier for me to handle documents than for you to try to figure out how to share them.
Okay, that's fine. Yep.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I apologize. I do show that the Coxes do have an attorney, Mr. Williams.
All right. My note says Williams listed on the complaint, but not on the summons. Mr. Williams, are you here? I'm not seeing an attorney. Mr. and Mrs. Cox, did you hire an attorney to represent you in the case?
Not at this point. We just discussed it with him.
Okay. Well, the attorney is not in a case unless they're hired. So you'll have to decide how to proceed on your land contract case. We will adjourn until August 4th at 1 o'clock.
Your Honor.
Mr. Paytis?
I don't mean to interrupt again, but I have a summons that doesn't have an attorney listed, but I do have a complaint with the case number that has Paul Williams listed as the attorney.
Yeah, he's not filed an appearance, so
Okay.
if he's not filed an appearance, he's not on the case. So
Okay.
August 4th at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next file is file 21-23367 LT. This is the case of DCA Properties versus Julio or Herminio Neves. Counsel for plaintiff, please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Anthony Jenkins, appearing on behalf of DCA Properties. I'm here with David Rapanis.
Is there anyone here for the tenant Julio Neves or anyone associated with 1327 Colorado Court? If so, please unmute yourself at this time. Does not appear to be the case. It looks as if we have a hearing date set for this case on August 25th at 10 a.m.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, that will be a status conference. Will be adjourned until August 25th at 10 a.m. Thank you very much.
Is that when we'll get our judgment, Judge, then?
No, it is an opportunity because of the Supreme Court order. The courts have no idea whether or not someone's going to file for relief And so I set it for a status conference 4 weeks out because 30 days doesn't necessarily match up very well with how things are set up. We do things on specific days of the week. And so I do a status conference. If the person hasn't filed by then, at that point in time, you could get the judgment very shortly after.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned on that case. Next file is Village Townhomes versus Carl Hockman. This is file 21-23383LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiffs please identify themselves?
Good morning, Your Honor. Paul Nider representing the plaintiff.
Do we have Mr. Hockman or anyone associated with this address at 3804 Todd Street here today? If so, please unmute yourself.
Yes, Your Honor. Carl Hockman here.
All right, today's time and date set for this pretrial. The next date for this case is scheduled for August 25th at 10 a.m. This looks to be both a possession judgment as well as a money judgment case. Is that correct, Mr. Nida?
That's correct, Your Honor, but I would inquire if Mr. Hockman has filed a SIRA application. If not, I would ask that that date be changed.
I have not, Your Honor.
Are you planning on it?
I wasn't, Your Honor, no.
So what is your plans for the property?
Frankly, I'd like to attempt to make good on the back rent, but I'll do what I can.
What is the amount, Mr. Nida? You don't have your client here, right? So
That's correct.
we'll have to schedule it at a different time to where you can.
Your Honor, for the court's information, the amount due is $1,716 plus costs.
So $110 for the filing fee, $22 service fee, $75 statutory attorney fee for 207. Is that the cost that you have?
Your Honor, we were seeking 65, so it's 197.
Mr. Hockman, how are you going to pay the $1,716 plus the cost, which makes it $1,913?
Yeah, 1913. I figured about $2,000. I will sell what I can and get assistance from my family, sir.
All right. Well, I still am going to give 7 days. So it will, the next court date then will, do we have a date, Michaela, on August 4th?
What time, Your Honor?
I'm asking my staff for that, Mr. Nida.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1:30, Your Honor.
All right. The hearing will take place next week at 1:30. Mr. Hockman, you have to realize that once we get August 4th, the number's probably going to change because I'm guessing that your rent's due on the 1st of the month.
That's correct, Your Honor. Yes, I realize that, sir.
Okay. We'll be rescheduled till 1:30 on August 4th.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have this morning, and we'll leave if the court will excuse me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next file is Northwind Investors versus Amanda Eastman, file 21-23390LT. Counsel, identify yourself for the record.
Hello.
I show there's an attorney Gann, Gann, who's filed the paperwork. Is anyone filling in for Northwind Forest Investors LLC? Ms. Eastman, good morning.
Good morning.
Your Honor, this is Amy Mylink. I'm not filling in for Mr. Gann, but I am representing Ms. Eastman. I have been in contact with him about it. We know this is only, I know this is a termination file, and we are in some discussions about it. So.
Okay. We'll just then, we'll set this then for August 4th at 1:30 then is the date.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Eastman, you're free to go.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. The next
I just
file,
have a question though, sorry.
for me or for your lawyer?
I guess I don't know. So what does that mean? So I just kind of hold tight until August 4th then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
As I indicated yesterday, I'll be in touch with you
Okay, thank you.
again.
Thank you. The next file is Varshock Land Development LLC versus George Hoyle, file 21-23382LT. Council, please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Patrick Shefsky, filling in for Andrew Thompson today on behalf of Varshock Land Development LLC.
All right, do we have Mr. Hoyle or anyone associated with the property located at 924 West Allen Street on the in the meeting today? Does not appear so.
Yes.
I am here.
Your Honor, they are here.
There's so many faces here. All right, Mr. Hoyle, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
All right, this is a termination case. Mr. Shefsky, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor. And per the notice to quit, it's for a violation of lease terms.
All right, this is set for a hearing on August 4th at 1 o'clock. Mr. Hoyle, would you like to meet with someone from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan today, or are you planning on representing yourself?
I would like to speak with the attorney.
Okay, what we'll do, Ms. Milik, we're putting them with Ms. Darris this morning, or what is the plan?
Perhaps if you want to put me in there.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead. So Mr. Hoyle, you just have to join the meeting, and then when you're done, you may just go ahead and leave after that. Just remember, your next court date is August 4th at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, sir. But will the lawyer be, assistants be in touch with me?
We're going to do it right now.
We're going to put you in a meeting right now with the attorney, and then after that, you will have to either qualify for their program, but they're going to at least give you some general advice right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next file is E.R. Humberg, J.R. Creative Specialties Company versus Magdalena Mandaki. This is file 21-23386LT. Would the attorney for the plaintiff please identify themselves?
Good morning again, Your Honor. Patrick Shefsky appearing on behalf of plaintiff for Andrew Thompson.
Do we have anyone here associated with property located at 27 East Isabella Road or Magdalena Mandoki?
Hello, we're the.
Hi.
Hi, are you Magdalena Mandoki?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So today is set for pretrial. There's a termination hearing set for August 4th at 1 o'clock. Are you planning on representing yourself, or would you wish to see if you qualify for the services of Eastern Michigan, Legal Services of Eastern Michigan?
Yes, we want legal aid. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
We'll put you in a breakout room. You'll probably go in a different one for a moment because Ms. Mylink is meeting with someone else right now, but then we will move you over and just meet with them. Make sure you do not miss the date on August 4th at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll be adjourned.
Thank you.
The next file is MASTR Asset Backed Securities Trust versus Dorothy Jenkins and all other occupants. This is property located at 2508 Isabella Street. File number 21-23392LT. The attorney please identify themselves for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Marella Albu for the plaintiff.
Do we have Dorothy Jenkins or anyone associated with 2508 Isabella Street on the meeting today? Trina, I'm unable to see all the participants. I can only see the ones that show up. Do you see anyone in the virtual waiting room that could be Dorothy Jenkins or anyone else in the virtual waiting room?
Your Honor, I do not see anybody. Thank you.
All right. So this is scheduled for hearing on August 4th at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Be adjourned. Thank you. All right, the next file is the case of Gene Yarger versus John Schmidt, file 21-23384 LT. We have Ms. Yarger here today.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. And it looks like we have Karen and John Schmidt. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
All right. This looks to me, Ms. Yarger, to be a termination case, meaning you just want the property back. Is that correct?
Right.
I show this.
That's
is
all I
regarding-
need. I asked.
Okay. It looks like we have a hearing scheduled for August 4th at 1 o'clock. Mr. Schmidt, it looks like you only listed Mr. Schmidt, but Mr. and Mrs. Schmidt, are you planning on representing yourself, or would you like to meet with someone from Legal Services of Eastern Michigan?
I wasn't given an eviction notice and 30 days notice, and I asked the police officer for
Well,
it.
she
And
wasn't
he said
included.
Hang on.
Needed to file
Hang on.
with.
Wait, just a second. Ms. Yarger, Ms. Schmidt's saying that she wasn't given a notice to quit or listed as a defendant, and that looks to be true.
It's true because I did not agree for her to be living in. He brought her in after the agreement. I was assuming it was just him and she moved in.
Well, we can proceed against Mr. Schmidt, but you did not file the paperwork against Ms. Schmidt, so you may get it depends on the outcome of the case. You may end up getting a judgment, so Mr. Schmidt cannot be there, but Ms. Schmidt is entitled to it. If she's living there and you know it, you should have served her or listed her in the complaint.
But that's not her name.
Well, she's in the home right now, it looks like. You listed only John Schmidt.
Okay.
So I will have a hearing.
Because that's what my agreement was.
I understand that. I will have a hearing on August 4th regarding John Schmidt. So since Ms. Schmidt, you are not listed.
So I have to
I cannot tell you how to file your lawsuits appropriately. You would either have to figure it out or hire an attorney to do that. Right now, you have a lawsuit only against John Schmidt. If you had knew about other occupants, you could have listed other occupants, or you could have listed Ms. Schmidt or whatever name you think she goes by, but each person has to be listed on the complaint or list all other occupants. So I will proceed on August 4th at 1 o'clock regarding Mr. John Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt, do you wish to meet with a representative from Legal Service of Eastern Michigan or not?
Yes, I would, sir.
All right, we'll put you in a breakout room, and then when Ms. Mylink has an opportunity to meet with you, after that, you may feel free to leave. Ms. Yarger, we'll see you on August 4th at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case is Teresa Chu versus Tai Kwan Do. This is file 21-23388LT. Would Ms. Chu please identify herself for the record? Is there anyone here for Taekwondo or anyone associated with 417 South Saginaw Avenue here on the call? Seeing no one else here, the hearing date for this case is scheduled for August 4th at 1 o'clock. Will be adjourned. The next file is the case of Alicia Maltby Tim Lyons versus Alicia Maltby. This is file 21-23389LT. Is Mr. Lyons here today? Is Alicia Maltby here today?
Your Honor,
Yes,
Mr.
I'm
Lyons
here.
is here.
Okay. Mr.
I'm
Lyons,
trying
you'll
to-
need to unmute your phone by *6 or *7.
I'm here.
All right. This looks to be Mr. Lyons' termination case, meaning you just want the property back. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The hearing date for this is going to be August 4th at 1 o'clock. Ms. Maltby, are you planning on representing yourself, or would you like to see if you qualify for the services of Legal Services of Eastern Michigan?
I plan on representing myself.
Okay, well, they're here to meet with if you want to, but I'm not going to force you to do that. You want to represent yourself?
Yes.
All right, you'll need to make sure you're available August 4th at 1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be adjourned on this case.
Thank
The
you,
next
Your
file
Honor.
is Whispering Pines versus Samantha Gilbert and Brandon DeLong. This is file 21-23391LT. Would the person here for Whispering Pines please identify themselves for the record? Looks like Mr. Freeman, you are muted, so you'll need to unmute yourself. Do we have anyone here, Samantha Gilbert or Brandon DeLong? Okay, this case is set. There we go. Mr. Freeman, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
This is set for August 25th at 10 a.m. for a status conference.
Okay, thank you.
All right, be adjourned. Mr.
Thank you.
Jenkins, yes, Mr. Jenkins, did we miss a case for you? I only had the one.
Yes, Your Honor. I had Orchard View Commons versus Marshall Aga, AGHA, set for today, I believe.
You have a case number?
21-23368 LT.
That was adjourned until August 25th at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Did we adjourn it or?
It says hearing to be adjourned due to plaintiff's attorney not being available.
That's us. Okay. I think nobody showed up for it anyhow, Your Honor, so it's probably just going to get adjourned to the 25th anyhow. So no harm, no foul, but thanks for paying attention to me and kicking me out of your Zoom. So.
All right. You're always welcome to stay, but I figured you probably had other things to do.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I do see you, Mr. Brown and Mr. Durant. Yours is a little more complex, so I needed to get rid of some of the easier ones before I could call your case, so it's coming. I do have the case now of Joel Lundberg versus Robert Shocknessy, file 21-23393LT. Mr. Lundberg is here in the courtroom. Mr. Lundberg, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Shocknessy, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing today, Your Honor?
Doing well, thank you. This looks to be a non-payment of rent case. Mr. Shocknessy, you planning on
and
seeking assistance?
I did get help through two different churches, St. John's Episcopal and Moyle Presbyterian. And he did receive a check, both checks, one last week and one, I believe, just this week, the other day. He had stopped by and told me that he did receive both checks.
All right, so let's find out if it covered all of the back rent. Mr. Lundberg, is he caught back up?
No, he is not.
How much is he still
owe? We're to right now $75.
plus the court costs?
Yes, plus court
Yep,
costs.
and I will have that on the 1st.
Okay, well,
yep.
I'll set this out.
Well, actually, I take that back. It would actually be the 31st because the 1st actually falls on a weekend.
Okay. The next court date's August 25th at 10 o'clock. If everything's paid up, then it can be just dismissed.
No problem.
Okay, we'll be adjourned on your case, Mr. Shocknessy. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Yep.
Next case is Joel Lundberg versus Lyle Stoneburner, Rebecca Walter, and Sarah Thorington, file 21-23394LT. Mr. Lundberg, please state your name for the record.
Joel Lundberg.
And do we have anyone here? It looks like we have Rebecca Walter and Lyle Stoneburner, at least on by phone. Could I have the parties on the phone please identify themselves?
We're here, Your Honor.
We're here.
Okay, but I don't know who's speaking, so you'll need to say your names.
My name is Lyle Stoneburner, Your Honor.
Okay.
And my name is Rebecca Walter.
Do we have Sandra Thorington also or not?
No, she moved out in February. I'd let Joe know that. I don't know why he's trying to evict somebody that lives in Montana.
Okay. Well, at this point in time, Mr. Lundberg says that you're behind in rent. Are you planning on getting assistance or catching rent up?
Yes, I had fraud charges with my Direct Express card through Social Security Administration. It took 2 months to get my card back. Next month, I'm getting my money put back on my card. I will have Joe's money all up on the 1st or a little bit before that. This Friday is payday. I do have a job, and I planned on giving Joe money on Friday if he wanted to come over so I can try to render most of my rent.
All right. Well, your next court date's can be August 25th. So if you get it all caught up, then the case could be dismissed. But we do have some people here for Legal Service Eastern Michigan if you wish to meet with them. If not, that's fine too. What do you want to do?
No, I won't need to, sir. I created this problem. I want to get out of it myself.
Okay. Well, then we will be adjourned until August 25th unless the case gets dismissed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a
yes,
good day, Your Honor.
10 o'clock.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Now calling case of Kim Bader versus Julie Linton and all other in possession. This is file 21-23395LT. Would the attorneys please identify themselves for the record?
Good morning, Your Honor. Jay Brown on behalf of the plaintiff.
Good morning, Your Honor. Peter Durance on behalf of Stephen Durance on behalf of defendant Julie Linton.
All right, today's time and date set. This is a little more complex case. Mr. Brown had filed an action before. Mr. Stephen Durance filed a motion to remove, saying he intended to file a counter complaint. Mr. Brown is saying that it never got filed, and then he refiled this as the landlord-tenant action, but I don't have any documents in this case to show me what the legal, if there's any legal writing that outlines the agreement. So what do we have other than a hot mess on my hands, Mr. Brown?
Well, Your Honor, we're proceeding on the possession claim. In the interim time, the defendant did file an action in circuit court, but they've not moved to affect this court's jurisdiction over summary proceedings. We intend on proceeding on the possession issue, subject to any motion filed in this case or filed in the circuit court, which would stop that issue. We're prepared.
Do you have any document? Do you have any written document that outlines what the agreement is between the parties, other than you saying they're living in the property or not?
Your Honor, there is no. They are at-will tenants, month-to-month tenants whose tenancy was terminated. There is no written document. There is no land contract, as they allege. They allege such things that. Well, I won't speak for counsel, but clearly our position is that their claims are barred by the statute of frauds, that there is no such writing, and that they are out of the house on the basis of being the notice to quit. They've raised defenses. I think we could try the case in the possession issue in this court, half a day, maybe a day at the most.
Well, we can't do it on August 4th at 1:30 because I've got I slot that for a little less complex cases, so we're going to have to give a different date and time. You think a half a day is necessary. Mr. Peter Durance, I know you're filling in for Mr. Stephen Durance, but do you have any written document that indicates that there's an agreement between the plaintiff and defendants?
No, Your Honor, but I have a court rule barring this current refiling. Specifically, opposing counsel's letter, he cites MCR 4.002A2, and he puts an ellipses after it says citing MCR 4.201G2 and 4.2021I4. It goes on to say that after removal, these actions are still subject to MCR 4.002A2, citing subrule C and D. Subrule C5 of the court rule says, after transfer, no further proceedings may be conducted in the district court, and the action shall proceed in circuit court. This action was removed to the circuit court on June 21st of 2021. Opposing counsel simply refiled instead of filing in the circuit court after notice should have been given that this action should proceed in circuit court. There is an ongoing circuit court case that's file number 21-7957-CH regarding an equitable issue. Until that equitable issue is solved, this landlord-tenant case may not be fileable as a landlord-tenant case, Your Honor.
Well, it was filed. I need to have briefs done by both sides. We're going to make the legal determination. So, Katrina, we're going to need about 3 to 4 hours at some point in time for the parties to be able to make their arguments. Or a circuit court order blocking me from proceeding. So,
Your Honor, if they're going to make that argument, I request, that they file a written motion and proceed that way. And we could do it by motion if they want to, but I don't want this issue to slow down our right to have a timely trial by summary proceedings. And, this is, I expect them to do something, but what I want to make sure doesn't happen is that it just gets continued out.
I understand that. I said we're going to give you a time slot, and both of you are going to provide me with your law and make your argument, and I'll decide. It should be pretty simple. Sorry?
September 24th at 9 a.m.
How far out? I'm sorry?
September, or would you like it sooner, sir?
Well, I'd like to try to find it sooner. So why don't we do this? We'll contact Mr. Brown and Mr. Durance's office to find a time slot. I don't want to wait till September. Summary proceeding is supposed to be summary. If Mr. Brown's right on the law, they shouldn't have to wait that long to have the hearing. If Mr. Durance is right, then the case should be this case should be dispelled rather quickly too. So let's see if we can find a time slot agreeable to both offices.
Would August 27th work, Your Honor?
Why don't we check with them first? We've got a 10 o'clock slot that needs to come on, so we'll check and see. Because right now it's adjourned without date. We will get a date fairly soon so that we can get a resolution. I would like motions, or at least some what you're both relying on, so that I can make that decision. Okay. All right. We'll check with you. We'll check back with you a little bit later today. We'll be adjourned.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll step off for just a minute before we hit the 10 o'clock hearing.